Hello there, it's Kim again. Wild Rose and Pearl, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based out of the Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. I'm coming today with our paper pumpkin for December. I'm a little behind on this one because I was doing the advent calendar, but it did come a bit later this month for me anyway, I guess because of the shipping for Christmas. I mean, there was a lot of shipping going on for Christmas, so it was a little bit later. So Paper Pumpkin, if you haven't done that, it is a subscription and it comes to your house with all the things you need to be able to create what is inside of the kit. So I'm going to be just as surprised as you are because I have not opened this. So we will go about doing the projects. I'll try to remember how I do these ones. Okay, so first of all, we get a color. So this month's is going to be Night of Navy. We get a little ink spot. Then we get a stamp set. Now, this is photopolymer stamps, so I'm going to make sure I bring in, I'm going to make sure that I bring in the printout that they have now. But all of these stamps will fit on a Stampin' Up! Paper Pumpkin block. You'll get this with your first paper pumpkin that you get, and then you gotta hold on to this block and keep it with you. So you just toss it in the box with you, take the box with you anywhere. These blocks are the same size as the D block that they have. So I will probably upgrade to my D block today just because it's a little thicker and a little more ergonomics. It's a little thicker and heavier, and then it's got these grooves for my fingers, which make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to bring that in today. But yeah, you will get a stamp block with your first order. So yeah, we'll pull that aside, and then I'm going to open up our tissue, and we shall have a look at what we have. So Watercolor in Bloom is what they're calling it. And yeah, so a lot of people took advantage of the subscription sale that we had going on. And I'm not seeing the printout. Maybe it's, I'm forgetting. I'm probably forgetting. The printout for the stamp set is probably inside of here. So I'm just using my Take Your Pick tool to open it up. It's a great tool. Used it all Christmas to open up everything. Okay. We'll put that aside. And then this is great for, there's this little insert here. I use these for making folio books, but you can use it if you're away. You can use it as kind of a compression to stamp on, like if you're camping or something. And then here's our lovely little, it was inside. Here's our lovely little printout that shows us what our stamps say. So we've got, dear friend, thank you. The little things you do for me mean so much. Miss you so much. And you make me feel loved. And then we've got some foliage type of things. So that's going to be our stamp set. And then all the things we need are inside of here. So we're going to pull this over. Our stuff for this month is called Watercolor in Bloom, December 2025. If I flip it to the back, it shows me this kit contains supplies for 9 cards and 9 envelopes. So it tells you what you're going to be doing. Coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors are Garden Green, Night of Navy, which we got in our spot this time. Pretty Peacock, Secret Sea, Shaded Spruce, and Bronze. So lots of blues and greens this month. You can also buy the kit add-on if it's available. I don't know if it is anymore. It might be, but these are just die cuts. So if you don't have a die cut machine, you wouldn't want to get this yet until you get a die cut machine. And then you can kind of extend and duplicate some more of the things. Okay, then what we do is we open up the front cover and we get, in the center here, we get all of the contents for all of the things we need separated into stuff that you can pull aside. And then you get your instructions for each product, 1, 2, 3 in the sheets here. See, it'll say 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to go to this page here because I want to collect all my pieces. I'm only doing one of each to show you how to do them. So we will pull in, we've got some embellishments here. They're bronze. And then we've got our dimensionals. Everything you need, all the adhesives are in the kit. Then we've got some tear and tape. Looks like we're going to be using a bit of that. We've got these lovely pieces. And envelopes. So the envelopes I don't really use to create the projects. So I just have a close look at them and then put them aside. These are beautiful. When you get them in the mail, that would be very pretty. But if you want to do alternate projects, these would make a really lovely card front if you cut them apart. There is nothing inside. They are not lined. So the only decoration you would get is just this front page. So some of the envelopes are quite covered in design. So they're really fun to cut up and use for other stuff. So there's our envelopes. We get 9 of those. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my pieces and start collecting them. So we need one. This is going to be card number 3. So I'm going to put that, I put everything kind of in piles off to the left here. And then I need one of these card bases. This one's going to be number 2. I'll put the rest aside. Then we've got these pieces. We need a square one. And usually we get spares of these. So we're getting 4 of each instead of 3 of each, so that if we make a mix up or we mess up in some way, we've got 1 spare in there to make sure that it's okay. We're showing this one needed for card number 1. Let me just make sure I'm getting this all in the frame here. Okay, so the square is going to be needed for card number 1. So I'm going to put that up higher. Card number 1. We're going to need this oval shape. It shows here for card number 2. This long strip here is going to be for card number 3. It's showing there. And that's our second sheet of those. Then we've got all these itty bitty bits. We've got 1 sheet of these, but it has 3 of each. So you're not getting any spares for these, but we will pull these out. So this one here is going to be for card number 1. Okay. Then we've got one of these lovely leaves here. This is going to be for card number 3. Then we've got one of these lovely sprigs. This is going to be for card number 2. Now I'm kind of separating them out as I'm going here, but I have done it before where I just pulled for number 1 and we get that all organized, but I'm feeling a little bit different today, I guess. So we've got one of these flowers for card number 3. It's showing a different size. So we've got large, medium, and small. So the smallest one is going to be for card number 1. The medium one is for card number 3, and the largest one is for card number 2. Okay, we're noticing large, medium, small there. Okay, then card number 1, we've got one of these bases. And I've said this before, but these are double-sided. Cut that in half, put it on a white base, and you get yourself an extra lovely piece of paper. You get yourself extra 3 of them because they're double-sided. So it's wonderful when we get the double-sided card bases. I'm going to put those aside. I'm just going to pull this one out here because this is my card number 3. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to put these aside now. 2 more. I'm going to pull this one out here. We've got a lovely oval shape. Yeah, these are beautiful little die cuts. Be delicate when you take these out, but like, look at that copper. That's the beauty thing of the paper pumpkin is you get these really cool kind of ephemera pieces that are attached to these. So we've got, that's number 2. We've got this lovely label here. That's number 3. And then we've got this lovely edged piece. Gosh, I bet you the alternatives on this is going to be beautiful because you really only have to use 1/2 of this. You could use 1/2 of this and 1/2 of this for another one. But we make them as they are first, and then we play around after, right? I always want to respect the design work that went into the originals. Okay, then we've got these vellum pieces. Last but not least, vellum is so fun, and it looks like the negative of this has a whole bunch of like little extra pieces of vellum that you could cut from or turn into other stuff. So we've got this big one here. It's going to go on number 1. And we've got a big oval here. And I can see all these little bits. I'm going to have to trim these off. So that'll be fun for me later. Okay. Then number 3. Some people like coloring. Some people like fussy cutting. I kind of like fussy cutting. And then there's number 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So we've got our oval there, the big sheet there, and number 3 vellum there. So that is all of the contents of the kit. So I know now that I've got one of each. If we run into some issues, then I'll know. So I've got one sheet, I've got one card base. I've got one of the die cuts, one vellum, one square, one floral, one flower, and then this is all embellishments and stamping. I've got one card base, one vellum, one beautiful bronze piece. I've got this oval, I've got a flower and a sprig, and the rest is stamping and adhesive. We've got number 3 with our big card, our vellum, our foil, our label, the sprig, and the flower. Okay. Now what we do is we go to sheet 1. We're going to pull that in. I'm going to put these adhesives on the side so I can put that in the upper frame here. And we're going to start working on this card, on card number 1. Okay. So first of all, it's calling for a ton of stamping. So it's calling for us to bring in this piece. I'm going to bring in my pieces here. I'm going to fold this card base in half. Use my bone folder. You could use the edge of your stamping block if you don't have a bone folder. And I'm just going to put that aside. I'm going to put that aside for now. Okay. Then I've got a lot of stamping to do. So I've already made my my stamping cleaner on my left off screen here. I have cleaned that up and ready to go. Added some water and all of that. So first of all, we are going to stamp "Miss You So Much" on our label. So miss you and so much. Miss you and so much. So miss you. Just going to season that. Get that factory residue off of there. Okay, and then I'm going to pull in a scrap piece of paper because I do want to just kind of test these as I go here. Now I'm going to grab a pair of scissors and our little Stampin' Spot here. Lots of ink. These are really juicy. So I'm just going to take my scissors and along the perforated line between the clear top and the bottom, away from the body, right? I'm going to go along that edge. And that is going to open up my little Stampin' Spot. Now I can cut the other side too and lift the lid right off, but I like to keep my lid on just so that it always is secure on one edge. And then I take my Stampin' Spot and I turn it upside down and put it on the stamp instead of vice versa. Now I can see that I've got my stamp covered there really good. I'm going to stamp it off once and make sure that it does a really good image. Perfect. Okay, we've got one image. The more you stamp them, the more seasoned they are, the more they hold the color. So I now know that this will hold the color better now that I tried it once. Okay, I'm going to pull in my little square here. Cut off any of the little pieces that show up. All those little laser cut pieces. Okay, now they've got this. Is it wider than it is taller? This is 1, 2, and 1/8. Yes, it is. So they've got this the tall direction. So I want to make sure I put it in the tall direction. Then I'm going to stamp "Miss You" towards the top, or no, they've got it towards the bottom, but I want to make sure I get so much in there. So I should have done so much first. You know what? I'm going to do that. Just because so much is kind of like the bottom and it's kind of what we're in line with. So I'm just going to season and clean this one and test it out too. Okay, putting that back, laying it in its natural state. Pick that up, stamp it, make sure nothing went wrong in the printing process. So much, looks great. Okay, so now we're going to take our so much and we're going to stamp that. I think I missed some of the O there. Or no, the font is just so thin and pretty. Okay. All right. So much, because I want it to be towards the bottom, I'm doing this so much first. So I'm just going to line this up on my grid paper, take my stamp, nice and centered, using my grid paper to make sure that I'm lined up. So I've done so much first. Put that over to be cleaned. Grab my Miss You again. Add some ink to that now. Miss you. Wish you were here. Okay. Miss you. Just putting that right above the so much. So glad I did that first, because now I can get my spacing the way I wanted it. So there we go. Miss you so much. Put that over to be cleaned. Put away. Okay, so we've got that piece done. Now it's got the floral and the sprig, and we're going to stamp directly on here. And it's showing, I guess it's really the same direction both ways. Okay, so then we're going to grab our sprigs here. So we've got our, more like our, I don't even know what we would call this, a palm, more like maybe a palm leaf. The other one's more like a, oh gosh, I am not really great with knowing what different plants are. You could describe what you think it is to me. I would love that. Put that in the comments. That would be great. There we go. So now this one, I would say you're going halfway and you're kind of doing it in the upper half. So if I was to take the halfway mark, I'm just eyeballing this, but we're kind of doing it in the upper half here. So what is this? This is 5 inches. So we've got 5 inches here. So 2.5 inches is about right here. So then kind of eyeballing up from there. Doesn't even give you a, doesn't really give you a measurement as to where you're putting it on the instructions. And nobody knows what the, I always say to people, nobody knows what the original looked like. When you give it to them in the mail or you send it to them, they don't know what it was supposed to look like. They just know what you gave them. So there is quite the freedom in that, right? Knowing that it's not being compared to anybody else's, it's your piece of art. Oh yeah. So seasoning, rubbing off that residue, cleaning it up, and now we've got our little sprig on here. We're gonna do this little piece. Nice and solid. I didn't test it out last time, but I should have, just because it makes the ink just stick better the second time around. Okay, so we've got one going off to the right, just like that. And then we've got one going off to the left. In a scoop. So it's going to go this way. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to take that one off so it can be cleaned and figured out. So then now we've done this piece, we've done this piece, and now it's calling for a whole bunch of adhesive. So we're going to pull in that tear and tape is what they're using. Now, if you have Stamp and Seal, I'm sure you could use that too. Tear and tape is strong stuff though. And they've got it 3 strips on the vellum, 3 strips on that. And it's kind of like we're setting up all of our glue pieces here. So we've got 3 strips on that. 3 strips on our vellum. Now I'm gonna cut the little bits off my vellum too, because that's just who I am. Okay, so we've got our vellum. We've got our floral piece here. Just gonna cut off all those bits. Three. There we go. We've got our flower here. Our littlest flower. Oh, I'm barely in the box, in the video box here, the TV box, in the screen. Just gotta cut off these little connector pieces. Not everybody wants to do that, and that's fine. It's just my little thing. Okay, and then where did I put that? There it is, way up there. I put that square piece I stamped. Okay, so now I've got them set up the way they've shown them. I'm gonna grab my dimensionals here, and we're gonna start putting some stuff on here. Okay, so tear and tape first. We're gonna do 1, 2, 3 strips. So once you get your length, then you just tear it. That's why it's called tear and tape. I didn't go all the way across, that's fine. I'll just go a little more on this side this time. 2 pieces. Now that one was a little too long. I tore that one a little too long. Let's put that little extra bit up there. Ha! Okay, 2. Now number 3. Right on the bottom here. Is this one too long? Nope, that one's about good. Then we've got 3 again, and I'm going to put these a little bit further in. I want to make sure I don't go all the way to the edge. So I'm going to get my length, and then I'm going to make it a bit shorter intentionally. And I'm going to put it a little further down on the top and bottom. Just because I don't want... Vellum's a tricky one. You don't want to see it through because it will show through. And number 3. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. We've got a little piece of tear and tape on the bottom of this one. The instructions really do make it easy. It's not very often I find any discrepancies in the instructions either. So I'm pretty confident in what the instructions are showing me. Sometimes there'll be something a little strange that I'll have to figure out on my own, but most of the time we're good. A lot of times too, don't stray from where they tell you to put the adhesives, because they've got little elements that sometimes are very important based on the location of the adhesives. Okay, so now we're going to pull in our card base, and we are going to place this one on this one, and then this all onto the card base. So we're going to do this one first. We've got no pieces. I'm going to use my take your pick to get the backing off, just because I don't have long nails. Other people have long nails and they can just pick them right off. But for me, this tool is fabulous because it helps out with that. And this last one, okay. And then with our stamping going up, we're going to place this directly centered on our vellum. Okay, so directly centered on our vellum there. Oh, I'm going to make sure I line it up real nice before I put it down. There we go. Lined up real nice. Now I'm going to take the backing off the vellum. So we've attached it to the vellum. Now we have to attach the vellum to the card. These are very pretty backdrops, I must say. They're very pretty. And now that I'm looking at it, I've got mine turned upside down, right? So I need to make sure that I open my card left to right. Okay, but my green's going to be on the bottom. I can see why. You know, you kind of want to see the blue at the top like a sky. It seems more natural. So we're going to center this directly on the card front. Nice and centered. If you ever have any go over, you can just grab your paper snips and trim it off if it's not lining up right. Okay, there we go. See, I already know I went a little to the bottom rather than the top there. So I want to pull it up a little bit. I was a little bit crooked with that. Okay. Then we've got our Miss You So Much. So the Miss You, oh, this goes on the top. So we're adding this Miss You to the top of this. So that's why we needed it to be towards the bottom. And then our floral is going to go right in the center here with dimensionals. So first of all, I'm going to take this strip off the back and attach it to the blue, or to the square, the nice plain square. So we're going to make that one unit. And I'm just following the edge of this piece, which is going to take me exactly where I need to go. It's going to follow the shape of the box. So there we go. So it was really important to make sure I stamped it in the right direction, right? So that we didn't mess that up. Now we can place this on the card front. So I'm just going to poke the backings with my take your pick. It honestly is the fastest way. If you have not gotten the take your pick, if that doesn't show you that it's a great little unit. Okay, so now I'm going to place this so that these pieces are poking out between the backings here, and then this is coming slightly out the top, right? So we want to make sure it's not too far up, but not too low down either. Okay, so now we've got that piece there. Then we're going to take our little flower here, poke the back off of that. We're going to place our little flower right in the center there. Now to embellish, which is always so fun. We always end up with a little bit extra embellishments, like 1 or 2, I think, but depends on how many you want to use. Usually you do things in odd numbers, so it's visually appealing to see things in odds. So we always go rule of thirds, like separated into 3 or 3 little elements added on. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Then we got 1, 2, 3 stamps. So it's all, you're seeing how it's all done that way. Okay, so then there's our first card. Look at how fast that was. That didn't take long at all. And how beautiful is that? Now I will likely cut this piece off and then use it for something else. But this is so pretty. I like the copper. So nice. Okay, so there's card number 1. Now we're going to take this, flip this over, and we're going to pull in our elements for card number 2. See, I mean, these paper pumpkin is just so great. Like it's so easy to do. You feel very accomplished after you're done. Great stuff. Okay, I'm going to fold this one just like I did the last one, so I can fold it and kind of move it out of the way, right? Then I can start focusing on all these elements. So let's pull this back in so you can see it. We're going to stamp. So I'm going to grab my thank you. Oh, we get a nice big sentiment on the front, which normally isn't the case. We usually do stuff where it's, you know, there's not a lot of, it's just a simple sentiment, whereas this one's got a whole script for it. Okay, so I'm just seasoning that stamp. We're going to stamp it off once, make sure it looks really good. And again, I should have done this from the bottom. So I'm actually going to go and pull that off. Okay, so I didn't get enough on the bottom of the T, but I will remember that for next time. So I'm going to pull in the sprigs because that's the first stamp that's used on the bottom. So I'm going to pull that in first. See, I should have done this that way again. From the bottom up, just so I get my spacing nicely done, right? So we're going to pull in this piece that we're stamping. This is the piece we're stamping. I'm going to trim off my little pieces here, the little connector bits. There we go. We're going to stamp this once to make sure we get a good image. Yeah, looks good. And we're stamping this twice. So we're stamping once first this way with most of the stem off of it. Okay. And then we're stamping it again with the twig coming off of one of the leaves. And curving with the edge of the oval. I'm purposely stamping that really close to that leaf, or even on and through that leaf. Okay, so now that one's done. Then I'm going to do the big sentiment. Because again, I want to make sure I leave enough space. I don't want to run into that issue where I've gone too far to the bottom and now you can't see it, right? Or you're overlapping your pieces. Okay. Night of Navy. Gosh, I'm hoping everybody had a great holiday season. These are not holiday cards, so I didn't have to make these before Christmas. October, November was holiday cards, but these are, you know, really neutral cards for anything you might need. This is kind of, it's funny. Thank you. The little things you do for me mean so much. I mean, the holidays and Christmas and all of the traditions that we do are these little things that you don't realize make a difference in people's lives. Those are the things we look to when we're having a hard time, is all of the traditions we have, right? So now this one's directly right of that. You kind of want it centered, so tuck it in pretty close so you get that centered look to it. I used my grid paper to kind of make my stamp straight. Okay, and then I'm going to pull off that thank you again. And you might notice I don't put it on my block straight because I intentionally don't want to depend on the end of my block to make sure it's straight. I want to be able to look through it and know that I'm stamping straight. Okay. All right. And there we go. That's really pretty. And it's going to look even prettier when we put it on top of this lovely piece here. That's going to look so great. Okay, so now that we've done all of our stamping, now, we can go and we can do all of our adhesives. So it's telling me to pull all these pieces in. So I've got my oval here. I've got my lovely die cut frame, oval frame, our piece of vellum, which I'm just going to make sure all those little pieces, like I don't know if you can see it, but you can see these like little pieces here. They catch light and they annoy me. So I like to get rid of them because I find them quite distracting. Okay, so that one's good now. So there's 1, 2, 3. Then we've got our little flower here. Especially when you have stuff like this up against a dark background, it kind of shows it. I mean, it's not that it's only something I notice. Other people don't notice, probably. So I wouldn't worry about it if I was you, but, or maybe you're just like me. Maybe you're just like me. It's just like, it's one of them things, just one of them things that you got to do. Okay. All right, there we go. I got them all. I got them all. Okay. We're pulling in our, there we go. We're pulling in our tear and tape. So we got 1, 2, 3 of tear and tape on here. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 on here. 1, 2. Now, if you had stamp and seal, this would be super fast with your stamp and seal. You just go whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, and then on this one, remember, we don't want it to show through the back of this. So we got to make sure that it's smaller than this shape. So I'm not going to make them super big. We're just going to put them on, making sure that we stay away from those edges. 1, 2, and 3. We're staying away from those edges just to make sure we don't get anything showing. Then this one only has a little bit of tear and tape on the flower, and then on the big sprig we get 2 dimensionals, and we're just putting them kind of in the center here. I don't really know why that's important, but I'm just gonna follow what they're doing here. Usually I like more stability, so when we get to that part I might add another one just for stability. Okay, we've got all those pieces done. Now we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to grab this one. We're going to put it on our die cut oval. This is our number 1 piece. On our die cut oval, number 1 piece. Placing that. Oh, it's really tight fit. Like a 1/16 of an inch tight fit to fit that one in there. Okay, nice and tight, and you don't want to cover that foil, but as you can see, like it's right up against there. Okay, then number 2, we're going to attach this one to the vellum, nice and centered. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring in something dark so you can see. I'm going to bring in my foam pad here because this is nice and dark, so you can see. I can see what I'm doing. So I've just got my foam pad there. This allows me to really be able to see that vellum because it's hard to see the vellum. So there we go. Now I've pulled it off. Great. Now I can take this piece and I can place it on my card front. 1, 2, 3, peeling off the backs. And of course I can't see those through the back of the vellum. Make sure I open it up right. There we go. And we're going to place this piece right in the center. Very pretty card. Very pretty card. Okay. Next up, we're going to take our flower and I'm going to attach it to the front of my little sprig here. And we've got this, oh, it goes this way. So we're lining this up. And it kind of just goes on to that stem there. Okay, and then we're going to place this here. Now, I said earlier that if I wanted more stability, I would add another one to this. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the liberty and do that. Now, the other thing I can do is grab a set of snips, and I can use the edges of these. So know that even though the dimensionals are in the pack, the edges are the same thing as the dimensionals. They can be used. So you can use those to just add a little bit more stability if you want. I kind of want to add a little bit more stability. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pull these backs off. I can use my take your pick too. 3, 4. And then I'm going to take my little sprig here. And we kind of go over top of those embellishments that we had, or those stamped images that we had. We're just going to place that there. Then we're going to pull in our copper embellishments. And we're going to place those on. So we've got 1 and 2. And yeah, a lot of people took advantage of the sale on the paper pumpkin. It was quite a nice savings on that paper pumpkin subscription. And of course, you can pause it anytime you want, right? It's not like you have to commit every month. You kind of, I mean, you don't get to know what you're doing ahead of time, but like, let's say you can see there in the peekaboo that it's going to be Valentine's Day. You can be like, nah, I don't have Valentine's people, so I don't want that one. So you can just press pause subscription, right? And be like, nope, I'm not taking that one. And wait for the next one. Maybe you love Easter and Easter's coming up and you're like, oh, I love Easter. I want to get the Easter one, but I want to skip out on the Valentine's. You can do that. This is not, you're not tied into the subscription like other ones. Okay. Now I'm going to fold this one here and I'm going to make sure I get it in the right direction this time because last time I had it upside down. So I'm going to fold this one here, put it off to the side so it's ready. Then we're going to pull in all of our stamping. So I'm going to push these ones aside. We're going to get our stamping done, which is going to be on this one here. Oh, and we have some stamping on this piece here too. I'm going to do a little bit of snippy snips on these to get rid of all those little bits. There shouldn't be really any for this one because this one didn't get punched out of anything. So this one's pretty good. Okay, so we're going to stamp on this one and this one. Pull in my block. Let's pull in our stamp, see what we got left. We only have 3 stamps left that we haven't used yet. So we're going to be using this little one. And actually, honestly, it has been a long time since I've seen us use every little piece. But we are using every little piece today out of this stamp set. We're going to use every single one. So that's really cool. It's probably not as exciting for you, but I'm like, yay, we're going to use every single one. Not that you can't reuse these. I mean, you can reuse these stamps. If you're ever needing sentiments, you can reuse them. I always make sure it's in its natural way, and then I pick it up. Because then I don't get a curve. That is a really cool thing about photopolymer, though, is if you want, you can curve these stamps. So let's say you've got an element that you want to put it around, you can actually curve them and stick them down. But I want it in its most natural state. We want it nice and straight. You don't want to curve it today. We want it to be nice and straight. So I'm going to lay it down and then I'm going to use my block to pick it up. There we go. We are going to stamp, you make me feel loved. Oh, these sentiments are so pretty. Thank you. The little things you do for me mean so much. And you make me feel loved. Dear friend, you make me feel loved. Beautiful sentiments. So I'm just using my grid paper to kind of get my straighter line. I'm doing the bottom first, so I know I got good spacing for my top. That looks great. Okay. Off we go to be cleaned. Off we go. Now we've got Dear Friend. We're going to bring that one in. Season this one. And I didn't test that one, so I'm really glad it worked out. I am going to test this one though. Okay. So we're going to bring in our stamp here. Let's see what we got. Dear Friend. Yeah, looks good. And we've got punctuation in there. We've got commas and periods in these sentiments, people. Punctuation is important. I love those little memes that come out that show like how you would read something without punctuation, and they're pretty funny. Pretty funny. Okay. So now, Dear Friend, I'm going to center that, put that right in there. There we go. Dear Friend, you make me feel loved. Now, the last one we have, the last one is our little flower. Our tiny little flower. This is the last one we're going to be using. that one up. Clean. And we are stamping that one. Ooh, it's tiny. It's this tiny little dot one. Okay, where am I putting these? Okay, I'm putting a tiny little dot in between these leaves here. They want us to stamp. They want us to have fun with our stamping. So they'll put stamps where you're like, really? Do I need to add that? But we do. We need to add this. And one right there. So one right there, one right there. Cute. Okay, so that's the end of our stamping for that. Now we're gonna flip everything over and start adding our adhesive again. So we got one here, one here, one here. We got our vellum piece. Make sure we got oh, there we go. One of those little things drive me crazy. Okay. Like I said, my own little thing. Okay, and then we've got our little piece here, our little leaf. Some people are not fond of the white outline. Those of us who do die cutting, we're very familiar with that white outline. That's on any kind of ephemera or die cuts, but some people don't like the white outline and they'll cut tighter to it. To each their own, but I don't mind it. Like when you look at how pretty the card is in the end, you're like, oh yeah, it's really pretty. And it's handmade by you, so it means more. Okay, there we go. All right, and then we've got this piece here. Okay, let's pull in our tear and tape again. We are going to place tear and tape on our big top one here, right in the center. We are going to place it again in the center on this one here. Two. We've got a little bit on our flower, so that's going to be flush. We've got some tear and tape on the front of this flower. A little bit of tear and tape on the front. Tiny little bit of tear and tape on the front of this flower. Right here at the bottom it's calling for. Then we've got pop-ups on here. So we've got one. And because we're doing vellum, we want to keep that in the center again. Nice and tight to the center. We do not want those to be showing. And they're going to be layered with these three. So it should be good. 1, 2, 3. Then we've got 1, 2, 3. We're gonna really pump up these pop-ups here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Before I start doing that, I'm gonna get everything organized. So we are going to put our sprig, okay, that's why. Our sprig is gonna go under our vellum. So I'm gonna go this way. So I'm gonna do this piece, dear friend. I'm gonna place this centered on this one. Nice and centered. So we've got that lined up. Dear friend, you make me feel love. And we're going to place this piece on our vellum. Nice and centered. Okay. Then I'm going to grab this piece and place it underneath, like so. Right above friend. like so. And I'm going to grab this piece, peel off the back of these. 1, 2, 3. Place this one in the center here on this, nice and centered. Looking good. Take my little flower, place my flower over that vellum, because you're noticing the adhesive through the vellum, so that was supposed to go in, tucked into the word friend there. So we're going to place that there. Should have been over a little bit more, I guess. I should have had it a little more this way, but it looks good. And then we're going to take all the backings off of here. 1. Again, nobody saw the sample, so they don't know. They don't know that it's supposed to be to the left a little bit more, right? They only see what I'm giving them. Okay, and then making sure I open my card. I'm going to place this in the center. Wow, is this ever pretty? This is such a pretty one. And I'm noticing on the black, we've got a couple of little pieces here. A couple of those little factory cuts. Yep. Here I thought, oh, I'm not going to see those. There's not going to be any. But you run your blade across them and then you see them, you snag them. Okay. There we go. Now we've got our embellishments. One big one here at the bottom. One little one just above this little sprig here. One little one in between here. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. There's card number 3. So there we go. We've got all of our cards done now. 1, 2, and 3. And then we've got our lovely envelope that we would be using to mail them off. So there you go. There's the creations for December's paper pumpkin kit called Watercolor in Bloom. Watercolor in Bloom. That's what we did this month. Those are really pretty cards, and the sentiments are so sweet. Like the lovely sentiments that they say are just so sweet. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate it.